Have you ever noticed where your dog points themselves when they lie down for the night? Whether their nose is aimed at the door, the hallway, or somewhere else entirely. Most people assume it's just wherever they happen to land. Comfortable spot. End of story. But that orientation isn't random, and it isn't habit. Where your dog chooses to face when they're at their most defenseless is one of the clearest windows into how safe they actually feel inside your home. And most owners have never once thought to look. We're going through 6 of them today, and honestly, 2 of them, the one about what happens when they stop doing it, and the one about where you fit into all of this, are going to completely change the way you see your dog. Let's start with what that door-facing position is really saying. 1. They're not watching the door. They're watching for you. Have you ever watched your dog circle a spot, drop down, and settle with their face pointed straight at the doorway? Like they've quietly decided to keep an eye on things? Most people figure their dog just likes that angle. Or maybe they're waiting to hear someone come home. Sweet, but that barely scratches the surface. But here's what's really happening. Dogs descend from pack animals whose survival depended on knowing where threats would come from before those threats arrived. The doorway isn't just an architectural feature to your dog. It's the single most important threshold in any space. It's where danger enters and where safety exits. When your dog faces it during sleep, they aren't passively resting. They've posted themselves at the most strategically critical point in the room. They've assigned themselves a job, and they're doing it even while their eyes are closed. Research on wolfpack behavior, the evolutionary foundation of how domestic dogs think and move, shows that resting members of a group orient themselves toward likely approach vectors. Studies in canine cognition, building on work from researchers like Brian Hare at Duke's Canine Cognition Center, confirm that domestic dogs retain this spatial awareness instinct even in fully safe home environments where nothing threatening has ever happened. That's not your dog being restless. That's your dog deciding that while everyone else sleeps, someone should be paying attention. And they volunteered. And later, we're going to talk about what it means when your dog stops facing the door. It's something most owners miss entirely, and it tells you more about how they feel than almost anything else they do. 2. The position tells you exactly how safe they feel. Does your dog sleep completely stretched out, legs extended, body loose, taking up as much space as possible? Or do they keep their legs tucked underneath them, body compact, like they could be on their feet in a second? Most people read this as personality. Some dogs are sprawlers. Some are neat little bundles. Cute either way, and that's about as far as most people take it. But the amount of physical space your dog occupies while sleeping is a direct readout of how secure they feel in that exact moment. A dog in a full sprawl, legs out, neck long and loose, maybe even rolled partway onto their back, has made an unconscious calculation. Nothing bad is coming. A dog who sleeps curled tight, weight forward, legs coiled underneath them, ready to rise in half a second. That dog isn't fully resting. They're resting and staying ready at the same time. Here's what most owners never connect. The door-facing position and the body posture work together as a single message. A dog who faces the door but stays tightly coiled is saying 2 things at once. Their body says, "I trust this space enough to close my eyes." Their posture says, "but not enough to let everything go." Research on canine stress postures supports this. The ready-to-rise position, weight shifted toward the front legs, minimal lateral lean, chest close to the ground. Mirrors alert postures documented in working dog assessments and behavioral evaluations used in professional training contexts. It's a measurable physical state, not just an impression. That's not your dog being a light sleeper. That's your dog showing you, with their entire body, exactly how much of their guard they've been able to put down. and it's more honest than anything they could say out loud. And keep that image in mind, because later I'm going to tell you about the one thing you do every day that either deepens that feeling of safety or quietly chips away at it. And most owners have no idea which one they're doing. And hey, if this is already changing the way you see your dog, hit that like button and subscribe. That's how we get these videos to more dog owners who want to understand what their dog has been trying to tell them. 3. Some dogs guard the door even when nothing is wrong. Have you ever noticed your dog seems almost drawn to face the entrance, even in a home where nothing scary has ever happened, where they've lived their whole life, where they know every sound and every smell by heart? Most people assume this means their dog is anxious, maybe a little wound up, and they start to worry they've done something wrong, that the dog should feel safer by now. But here's what most people don't realize. This behavior isn't a sign of fear. It's a sign of role. Some dogs, especially herding breeds, livestock guardian breeds, and working line dogs, carry a deeply encoded sense of duty. Facing the door isn't about threat. It's about identity. They're not anxious. They're on shift. And the difference matters because a dog guarding from anxiety looks nothing like a dog guarding from purpose. An anxious dog can't settle. Their body stays tense. Their breathing is shallow. Small sounds make them flinch. A dog guarding from purpose often looks completely relaxed, except for that one deliberate outward orientation. Loose jaw, soft eyes, slow breathing, face toward the door. Breed-specific behavioral tendencies are well documented in canine behavioral genetics research, including work from researchers like Adam Boyko at Cornell University, studying the genetics of domestication. Guardian and herding breeds consistently score higher on watchfulness and territory awareness behavioral profiles, even in low-stimulus home environments where nothing has ever triggered alarm. That's not your dog failing to relax. That's your dog living out a purpose written into them long before you ever met. And the fact that they do it quietly, without waking you, without asking for credit, is the whole point. 4. What happens in the night when you're not watching? Have you ever woken up at 2 or 3 in the morning and found your dog had shifted, maybe facing a slightly different direction, or moved to a new spot entirely? Most people figure the dog just got uncomfortable and readjusted. Maybe a dream. Maybe a cramp. Nothing to think about. But there's a pattern inside that nighttime movement that most owners never track. Dogs don't reposition randomly. When a bonded dog moves during the night, they're recalibrating, responding to a noise settling in the walls, a shift in your breathing, a vehicle passing outside. And here's where it gets deeper. In homes where a dog feels genuinely secure, that nighttime movement tends to decrease over time, not because they stop being aware, but because their baseline reading of the environment becomes so familiar that fewer things require a response. A dog who has lived with you for years and still returns to the same orientation, facing the same door, from the same position, that isn't habit running on autopilot. That's confidence. They've run this calculation so many times that the answer is always the same. Research from the Family Dog Project in Budapest, one of the most comprehensive ongoing research programs studying the dog-human relationship, suggests that bonded dogs exhibit measurably calmer sleep patterns in the presence of their owners than when separated, pointing to the owner's presence as a genuine regulating force on the dog's resting nervous system. That's not your dog being a creature of routine. That's your dog having learned your home so completely. Every creak, every shadow, every familiar smell, that they've decided it's worth protecting. And they do it every single night without being asked. 5. The one thing you do every day that changes everything. Think about the moment your dog settles in for the night. Do you ever acknowledge it, a quiet word, a hand resting on them for just a moment? Or do you turn off the light and that's it? Most people don't think it matters. The dog's going to sleep either way. They seem fine. But here's what most owners don't realize. The feeling of safety your dog carries into sleep isn't fixed. It gets built or quietly eroded in the small moments right before they go down. Dogs read your emotional state with extraordinary sensitivity. Research shows they can detect changes in the chemistry of human sweat, meaning they can literally smell your stress before you've consciously registered it yourself. When you end the day calm and unhurried, even for 30 seconds, your dog's nervous system registers it. When you're tense, distracted, or you simply disappear without any transition, they register that too. This is the thing most owners have no idea they're doing. Every time you acknowledge the end of the day together, a quiet word, a slow exhale, a hand resting on their side, you are directly shaping how deeply your dog sleeps, how much of their guard they can release, and whether that door-facing posture comes from calm duty or low-grade vigilance. A landmark study published in Scientific Reports by Lena Roth and colleagues at Linköping University found that dogs and their owners show synchronized long-term cortisol levels, meaning your stress doesn't just affect your dog in the moment. It moves into their body chemistry over time, measurably. Your nervous system and theirs have started moving together. That's not your dog being oversensitive. That's your dog being so attuned to you that what you carry into the end of the day, they carry into sleep. 30 seconds of calm presence isn't a small thing to them. It's the signal that everything is okay. 6, when they stop facing the door. Remember at the beginning when I said we'd come back to what it means when your dog stops facing the door. This is it. And I want you to hold everything you've just learned when you hear this, because it changes what this moment means completely. Most people, if they notice the shift at all, assume their dog finally just relaxed, got comfortable, outgrew the habit. And honestly, most people take it as a good sign, without thinking much further. Sometimes that's true. But there are 2 very different reasons a dog stops facing the door. And knowing which one you're looking at matters more than most owners realize. The first is the one worth hoping for. A dog who moves from a tight, vigilant door-facing position to a loose sprawl facing inward, toward the center of the room or toward your side of the bed, is a dog who has made a decision. They've decided the door doesn't need watching anymore. Not because the world became safer, but because they found something safer than the door. You. When a dog who used to face the entrance turns instead to face the interior of the room, they are communicating something they have no other language for. I've decided you're the safest thing in this space. I don't need to watch the entrance anymore, because whatever comes through it, you're here. That is the full arc, from vigilance to trust, from the door to you. And here's where it gets even more powerful. The reverse is also true. And this is the part most owners wish someone had told them sooner. If a dog who used to sleep facing inward, relaxed, sprawled, oriented toward you, suddenly starts facing the door again, especially with a tighter body and shorter, more restless sleep, that is your dog telling you something has shifted. It might be environmental, a new sound in the neighborhood, a change in routine, a new presence in the home, or it might be something emotional, a stretch of tension they absorbed without you realizing they were listening. They don't have words for any of it, but they have sleep, and the direction they face when their eyes close is one of the most unguarded things they will ever show you. Research from the Family Dog Project documents that dogs form genuine secure attachment bonds with their primary caregivers, the same kind of attachment structure that developmental psychologists originally mapped in human infants. In secure attachment, the caregiver becomes the safe base, the presence that tells the nervous system it's okay to rest fully. And when that attachment is strong enough, the door stops being the most important thing in the room. That's not your dog being sentimental. That's not instinct running out of things to do. That's devotion expressed in the only language they have, where they point themselves when the world goes quiet and there's nothing left but how safe they feel. Your dog has never needed you to be a trainer, or a behaviorist, or someone who understands every signal perfectly. They just needed you to be the thing worth facing away from the door for. And for them, you already are.